What's up, guys? I'm back. Today, I want to talk about the next gen consoles, PS5 versus Microsoft Series X, whatever they want to call it. I'm going to call it the tissue box because that's what it looks like. First of all, I am still getting over a cold, so, my apologies for that. I know I don't sound like my normal self. But as far as the tissue box, I'm not making fun of how the next Xbox looks. I actually like how it looks. I like the minimalist design. It's very sleek. It's very, like I said, minimalist. No frills. It's not that big, and like I said, it looks like a tissue box, and it fits nicely anywhere you put it. It's not an eyesore. So I actually really like the design. So I'm not making fun of it. And that's another thing I want to sort of talk about is this tribalist uh, nature of people in gaming, of the gaming community. Whereas if you're a PlayStation guy, that you gotta attack Xbox, or it's just this juvenile back and forth fanboyism. I do not partake in that. I think it's embarrassing, to be honest. I'm a bit old for that. And I don't see any. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that whether you're an Xbox guy or a PlayStation guy, you should be very happy that you're getting a kick-ass console. I mean, that next Xbox tissue box is going to be really powerful, right? You're getting pretty much everything that you want, and that, quite frankly, we didn't get with this current generation when it first came out. And the same thing with PlayStation guys. You're going to get a beast console, right? So both consoles are going to be really powerful. And this back and forth about, hey, we got 3 teraflops more. And honestly, I have no problems admitting that, I'm a PlayStation gamer, and I don't have a problem admitting that, yeah, this next gen Microsoft console is pretty powerful, and I wouldn't mind having those 3 extra teraflops. So anyone that says it does it really it that it's not important to them is lying. Because if you're a PlayStation guy and you were the one who had a 3 teraflop advantage, you'd be bragging about it nonstop, and so would Sony. So let's be honest, right? That being said, my honest assessment is I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm not saying this because I'm a PlayStation gamer. I honestly don't think when you line these two consoles up side by side, when they come out and you see the games, you're not going to notice a big difference. They're both going to be very impressive, and they're both going to be very similar until you get, actual metrics. And when you start measuring things like frame rate and aliasing, and really taking a magnifying glass and looking at the tiniest details, that might be where you see a tiny bit of difference. You're not going to just say, oh my god, this thing is clearly better than this. That's not how it's going to be. These consoles are going to be very close, neck and neck, in terms of performance. And I think everybody should be happy. They're going to be happy with the actual capabilities of these consoles. I think the real story is going to be the game development side of things. Game developers, what are they going to do with these new capabilities? That's the big question mark, and I think really that's where gaming has kind of dragged its feet. The hardware is going to be there. Now, this difference of 3 teraflops, if I had a choice and Sony said, we can boost this up and add those 3 teraflops, but you're going to pay a little more, I'd rather pay a little more just to have it for peace of mind. But again, it's not going to Not going to make a difference, I don't think. As an example, we already know, looking at the PlayStation Pro versus the PlayStation 4, it has twice the teraflops. It's twice as powerful, right? So if we're going by the same logic, then playing games on the PlayStation Pro should be twice as good as a PS4 in terms of performance. But we all know that's not what's happened. They're very close. The differences between the two are very small. You do have to measure the small details. Maybe you get a little more performance in frame rates. Some textures may look a little better on a PS4 Pro. Honestly, and I bought a PS4 Pro, I don't notice a big difference between that and the basic PS4. So just because it's twice as powerful, what has that really added up to? Not much. And I'm being honest. So focusing solely on teraflops and overall power, that doesn't tell the whole story. It really depends on developers. Also, when the PS4 Pro was coming out, or just before it came out, there was all this talk about having the ability to have a choice as a, if you had the PS4 Pro on, let's say you want better performance and going for better frame rates, or getting better visuals, right? To have that choice like you do on kind of like on PC, but that never really happened. I don't remember seeing games where you had this choice where, yeah, you know what, I could just go with better frame rates and have a smoother gameplay, or getting better graphics. That never really happened. It might have happened with a handful of games. I never saw it. So my point is this. Yes, the PS4 Pro does have advantages over the regular PS4, but they weren't that big. And they certainly weren't twice as much, right? Because they had twice the power. That's not how things work, is what I'm trying to tell you. So, game developers are the ones who've kind of been dragging their feet. They haven't really pushed these consoles to the limit, and they've focused a lot on online gaming and microtransactions. So there's a lot of reasons why, to me, game development has gone downhill through the years. So yeah, we're getting better looking, better running games, but the actual quality of these games in terms of entertainment value and content and what you get for your money, it's not as good as it used to be with older generations. You look at older games from the PS2 era, even into the PS3, there were better games back then. And I'm not saying that there aren't great games now. I'm just saying that overall, in general, when you take every game into consideration, there were just a wider variety of better games, better quality games. And as time has moved on, I just think developers, they haven't been as innovative. And so I'm going to talk about a couple of other things that are kind of related. So basically, my main point about the two consoles is, it doesn't matter. I don't see anyone who has always been a PlayStation guy walking away from PlayStation over 3 teraflops. I don't see that happening. So in terms of marketing, it's going to have a very, very small difference, right? Then there are other things to consider with the PS5. We don't really know what it is yet. All we know are the rumors and the leaks. Microsoft already announced their tissue box. So we know what it is. And even if I'm sure they didn't reveal everything. I'm sure they held a couple of things back, right? That would be the smart thing to do. But in general, the most important stuff, it's out there. We know the hardware. We know what this box is. Nobody can honestly say they know for a fact what Sony has in store. We know the rumors. We know all the leaks. So Usually these things do turn out to be, for the most part, kind of on point. But we don't know every detail. So, Microsoft made their announcement. To me, the advantage, Sony has an advantage because now they can kind of react to what they know Microsoft has, and if they feel that they are coming up short in any areas, they can make those changes. And I do think that the latest embarrassment, because Sony embarrassed themselves at CES announcing a fucking logo, nobody cares. So that was embarrassing. They talked about some of the features which were already leaked more than 6 months ago. We know about ray tracing. We know about the solid state drive and the virtually eliminating load times, right? Which is one of my favorite things. But we know about all these little features. So they didn't announce anything new or exciting. And in my opinion, they should have not announced anything. If you're not ready to announce anything major, just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. So they embarrassed themselves. However, it's not going to hurt them. Nobody's going to walk away from PlayStation because of a stupid announcement about a logo. So yeah, we can make fun of them. It's an embarrassing thing. They shouldn't have done it. But so what? When they finally do announce what this thing is, that's what they're going to be judged on. And I don't think it's going to make a bit of difference that this thing was a big egg that they laid on stage. So I don't, if it was me, I wouldn't have announced anything. I would have just said, we're not ready to announce anything. Now, there is a good thing about this. It kind of, and this is speculation on my part, I have a feeling that Sony went back to the drawing board, and I think they made a few tweaks. And maybe they said, okay, we need to address this power gap, this teraflop thing. So even though I personally don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, I think that in terms of marketing, if they can boost it up just a little bit, right? It doesn't have to match the same teraflop count as Microsoft, but even if you just go up a little bit, just somehow find 1 teraflop to add somehow. That's going to make a big difference to people who do think it's a big deal. And I do think that they are working on things behind the scenes. The way that they came out and made that stupid announcement about the logo, to me, it shows that they were planning to reveal the PS5 at this show. But because they made all these last minute changes, or they're working on something, that maybe they said, we're already invested in showing up at CES, let's just fucking announce this logo and just re-announce some of these main features about the PS5 and call it a day, because we're already kind of, we don't want to pull out for whatever reason, or maybe they thought it would look bad. But the good news for me, in this is speculation, I think this means that they are tweaking some things, and they just kind of delayed the full announcement to where they can come out now with something more positive for them. So that's good, I think, if I'm right. So those are my thoughts on that. Again, I want to reiterate, I'm not a fucking fanboy. I don't care. I think it's good that both Microsoft and Sony are providing their consumer base with kick-ass consoles. Because one thing I could say I was really disappointed with this generation is I think that they both came out with underwhelming consoles. They just weren't as powerful as they should have been. I think they were underpowered, and I always felt that way from the start. And I think they're addressing that this time around. and I do think the benchmark is 4K, 60 frames, full HDR, ray tracing, that kind of stuff. That's going to be the benchmark of both consoles, and I think people should be very excited about that. And to me, the spotlight is not on Sony and Microsoft. I think that now they're providing game developers with all the power they could ask for. I don't see this as an issue anymore where game developers are going to say, man, I'd really like to do this, this, and this, but I just can't anymore because there's not enough power. There's not enough this or that. They're going to be able to do almost anything they want at this point. And I think we are reaching a point of diminishing returns where the consoles are going to deliver pretty much anything you could want. And any extra power and stuff, it's like overkill. It's not necessary. So, I know it sounds a little bit like I'm a little contradictory or maybe contradicting myself, but I'm not. I'm excited about these next gen consoles in a way that I really wasn't when these came out, the ones that are currently out now. Power is not going to be a problem for either console. And I think everybody's going to be happy, and the focus should be, and in my eyes, is on game developers. Are you going to start really innovating now? Are you going to start pushing the envelope? And that remains to be seen. So those are my thoughts on the next gen. I think there's a lot to be excited about on that end. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is Grand Theft Auto 6 and where they're going and the rumors and stuff like that. I've always been a GTA fan, and there are some of the rumors are really exciting, but there are a couple of things that I'm worried about. Okay, so the rumor is it's going to be based in 3 different cities on multiple islands. It's going to be a massive map, which really excites me. The more diversity, the better, and I just really like that idea. The thing is, though, a couple of things that disappointed me about Grand Theft Auto 5 it's there's not enough interior environments. Is really one of the first things. For all as big as the map is, there aren't that many indoor places to explore or that you can just, that are part of the map. They really do need to add a lot more variety in terms of indoor environments. I remember in Vice City, there was a fucking mall, and you don't even have that really in GTA 5. The biggest indoor area is really the tunnels of the transit system. But they need more interior environments. The other thing is about Grand Theft Auto 5 specifically, they wasted a lot of... I mean, it's a big map, but so much of it is wasted. So most people spend their time in Los Santos because it's diverse, it's very dense with content. But when you go out, first of all, there's no reason to go out into the ocean. And they put a lot of work into it, into the underwater ocean. And there's no reason to go out there. There's no incentive. There's what's out there, for players to do. And personally, what I would like to see is, I would have put like an oil platform, massive, with an interior that you can explore, that you can actually go out there and explore and go out to the ocean. A cruise ship that is out in the ocean and actually moves around the map. And it's a fully functioning cruise ship with a full interior that you can go, board it, and go through the entire interior. Cruise ships nowadays are like mini cities. There's a lot you could do there and get people out into the water. So those are things I think they could work on for the next GTA that I'd like to see in terms of environment. You see a lot of mountain area in GTA 5, but really it's all very plain for the most part. So they need to work on that stuff. Also, there is, in my opinion, less detail. In the really small details of the game and physics and things like that, I think Grand Theft Auto 4 is superior in some ways in physics, ragdoll physics, that kind of stuff. There's some really cool videos comparing GTA 4 and GTA 5 that I highly recommend in terms of showing the difference between the two games. They are starkly different games. And I love Grand Theft Auto 5, but there's a lot of small details of Grand Theft Auto 4 that kind of were abandoned with Grand Theft Auto 5. So hopefully with Grand Theft Auto 6 and the next gen consoles, they really can bring all this stuff all together. And you know, I do expect an amazing game. Rockstar has never really disappointed in terms of games that they've developed. You know, I'm a big Rockstar fan. That being said, I'm going to go to the last part of my video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about GTA 6, another rumor that I'm not really happy about. And again, it's just a rumor. But the word is that the story mode is going to be much smaller, that they're focusing more on online. And I'm not surprised. With the success of Grand Theft Auto Online with GTA 5, it's a massive cash cow. And they've made such a killing on that, and they've kept expanding on it, that obviously they see another cash cow with GTA 6, and they're looking at monetization and things like that. So I'm not really happy about that. I still think you need a deep and lengthy story mode. I still think they're gonna deliver a really solid story mode. It's just gonna be very short. And I've heard things like 20 hours, 25. You know, definitely not more than 30 hours of gameplay. I don't like that at all. So as high as I am on Rockstar, I don't like what I'm hearing with that stuff. And they're even talking about blending the story mode with as being part of the online multiplayer. I don't like that. I don't know, man. So I hope it turns out not to be as bad as I think, but that is something that scares me. So those are my thoughts on that. And I don't think we're going to see that game for at least 2 years, at least, probably longer. They take forever to make these games, and this one's going to be a next gen title, so it's not going to come out anytime soon. I don't think. So, what do you guys think about what I said about these next consoles? Uh, I think they're going to be very evenly matched for the most part. I don't see, a big difference in terms of performance, and I do think there's a lot to be excited about. The fanboy stuff, I think it's ridiculous. Um, everybody's going to be happy with what they have. I think. I don't think anybody's going to walk away saying, "Man, uh, this sucks. I wish I would have got the other console." I just don't see that happening. And do you agree that really the games for next generation are going to be mostly dependent on game developers? I don't think it's gonna be a shortage of power or performance from consoles. It's really gonna be the imagination and innovation of game developers. I think that's really what's going to decide the next generation of games and what we get. So those are my thoughts. I look forward to your comments, and go Titans. Let's see if they can take it all the way. With my luck, probably not, but for now I feel good, and I'll see you guys around when there's more to talk about later.